This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
People love him and respect him. Roger Stone.
Now, get in the zone. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
Good evening. This is not Roger Stone. You do not need to change your station. Check the dial. This is Sean Spicer, President Trump's first press secretary. I'm filling in for Roger Stone tonight. The Stone Zone is the Spicer Zone, at least for the night. That Roger's okay with that, but I'm taking it over. I'm going to sit in the Stone Zone for the next hour. I got some stuff to fill you in on what went down on Capitol Hill today. It was an absolute embarrassment for the Democratic Party. But I'm going to take your questions, too. I don't care if you're from CNN or the New York Times. I'm ready. I'm back. I'm taking all your questions. I'm so excited. So honored to be sitting in for Roger tonight for the hour on the Stone. You have a question for me? Bring it. I got it. I'll take anything. 1-800-848-9222. All right, guys, there was a ton of stuff going on Capitol Hill today. But I got to tell you, the Democrats thought that when they had on ICE today, and they had Rodney Scott, the head of the Border Patrol, and Todd Lyons, the acting director of ICE, up on Capitol Hill, I think the Democrats were ready. They thought, oh, this is going to be amazing. We got these guys where we want them. I don't think they fully appreciated the background of these two gentlemen. These are not some shrinking violets. They've both been agents for decades. They know this stuff inside and out. They have been dealing with the issues. They are agents at heart. They know what's going on. I mean, it was almost like you were embarrassed for them because they didn't appreciate what they were going up against. So Todd Lyons, as I mentioned, the acting director of ICE, this guy's been a federal agent for decades. Like, he knows what's going on. And I thought he did a really good job at the beginning of the hearing, just laying it out. Here's what's going on. Cut 7.
Before discussing our broader operations, I must address the situation in Minnesota and the dangers that ICE agents and officers face nationwide. While the investigations remain ongoing, I'm encouraged that some Minnesota officials are finally signaling the willingness to cooperate with ICE. But let me be clear, promises are not enough. We need action. In the wake of the unprecedented border crisis of the previous administration, ICE has stepped into the breach to enforce the law. This commitment has a cost. We are facing the deadliest operating environment in our agency's history. In fiscal year 2025, death threats against ICE personnel increased more than 8,000%. Assaults on officers have skyrocketed over 1,400%. One officer in Minnesota had his finger bitten off by a protester, egged on by elected officials characterizing our officers as Gestapo or secret police. The families of ICE personnel have been made to feel unsafe in their homes. I know this firsthand because my own family was targeted. But let me send a message to anyone who thinks they can intimidate us. You will fail. Despite these perils, our officers continue to execute their mission with unwavering resolve, and we are only getting started. ICE remains committed to the fundamental principles that those who illegally enter our country must be held accountable.
Okay. So I thought that was a great way to lay the foundation for what we're about to do. And frankly, he's like, hey, look, our guys are out there. You, Congress, passed these laws. We're enforcing them. Our job is to do what you say. You want to change the law, change the law. But right now, the agents go out there and do this. They lay down lives, risk their lives to enforce the law that you knuckleheads passed. Okay? This should be easy peasy. And oh, by the way, when you use rhetoric and call them bad names like Hitler and Nazi and the Gestapo, you not only undermine a mission, but you create and make them targets. So he's laying the ground. Okay, like this should be easy now at this point. If you're a Democrat, you're like, okay, let's go into the numbers, maybe try to talk about some of the, the tactics. Can we find common ground? Can we talk about, face masks or all the list of crazy 10 demands that they had? So I'm trying to figure out, okay, where do you go from there? Like this guy, Todd Lyons, has laid out a pretty reasonable set of understanding as to where we are, what the environment is. So, who comes up? And remember, what does Lyons say? We're facing the deadliest operation environment in our nation's history. Deadliest ever. When we get called names, people come after us. They gaslight us. They dox us. They come after our families. Democrats used to be the party of federal employees, the people that would protect these people. They were all about the unions and the federal employees, blah, blah, blah. So Dan Goldman, a congressman from New York, after all of that gets laid out, how does Dan Goldman respond? Take a listen.
Questioning you.
No, I'll tell you what the wrong type of
actually,
thing
sir,
is. Sir, it's
Holocaust
my time.
Museum
Reclaiming my time, sir.
If you want to go
reclaiming my
Nazism,
time,
that's what
Mr.
it is.
Chairman.
It's not the men and women of ICE that are out there doing it every day. So to say that the men and women of ICE are
Mr. Chairman, I'm reclaiming my time. I would like my time back, please. Please give me another 15 seconds because he was unnecessarily speaking. You said in your opening statement that references to ICE as the Gestapo or the secret police encourages threats against ICE agents.
100%.
The problem is you have it backwards, sir. People are simply making valid observations about your tactics, which are un-American and outright fascist. So I have a simple suggestion. If you don't want to be called a fascist regime or secret police, then stop acting like one. But people are simply just observing what they are seeing. And that's why people are making those comments. Now, I was a prosecutor for 10 years.
I cannot believe that. It's your fault that we're calling you the... I mean, do you understand? Like, I wonder where Dan Goldman went to school. Seriously. And I mean, how do you look at people who are sworn federal agents upholding the laws of the country and go, no, you are the Gestapo? And he starts talking about America. I mean, let's just be 100% clear. Dan Goldman and he create sanctuary cities where they tell people you can hire if you're not in this country illegally. If you're a criminal, hey, come on over. We won't tell anyone where you are. You want to talk about the Gestapo? You guys, your party, Mr. Goldman, are literally coddling and hiding people committing crimes in this country. I mean, this is like, I honestly, there are days in which I cannot believe this is the party, by the way, where Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton all talked about, if you're in this country, within the last decade or so, that you are here illegally, you must be removed, and there's no ifs, ands, and buts. And suddenly these people are talking about the American way of life. I'm sorry, you broke the law. You came into this country illegally, and you want to talk about who the Gestapo is and the secret police and call the federal agents who are putting their lives on the line to keep our community safer the bad guys? Are you nuts? And then if it's not that bad, right? So it's like you're going to attack the cops and the federal agents who protect us, who will go away, who will, and by the way, listen to what Todd Lyons said, right? Their families are getting attacked. They're getting doxxed. These guys are making what, 80, 90, maybe 100 grand with like, and suddenly their families are getting phone calls like, bad person, we're coming after you, we want to kill you, we want to come and kill your family. They didn't go into this to get rich. They went into it out of a sense of service. So here you have Dan Goldman and some of the other Democrats attacking the agents, which is pretty bad. But then you got this other clown from California, Luke Correa, and he goes, let's take this a step further down the dumb train. Because here's what he had to say about the people who they're actually going after.
Trump got elected on the promise to deport the worst of the worst. Your numbers, Mr. Lyons, less than 14% of those arrested by ICE first year, 2025, had charges or convictions of violence. 70% of those deported had not even a traffic ticket. Mr. Lyons, I think we're all patriots, but I'm trying to figure out how, this is a question to you, sir, how deporting a nanny makes our nation safer, stronger, how trying to deport the father of 3 Marines make this country stronger, how deporting the parents of a number of Marines at Camp Pendleton makes this nation stronger.
Sir, thank you for your welcome, first off. Just to address your the numbers with the 14%, sir, that's 14% that are listed as violent criminal felonies. However, what's left out of that is the fact that what's left off that list...
Those 70% that don't have a traffic ticket and deported, how has that made our nation stronger?
Sir, if you look at what ICE has done, more than 60% of every individual that is in ICE custody has a pending or a conviction on a criminal charge. Not to count...
Sir, let me move ahead. I only have 3 minutes.
Yeah, sir, I don't want the real answer. I want to defend these people. I need to defend the criminals. I don't have time for your facts and your statistics and your reality. I mean, so what? Maybe they had some child porn or DWI. I mean, come on. Who doesn't? What is going on? Tactic 1, go after the federal agents. Tactic 2, coddle and defend the criminals. I mean, this is literally insane. And then, look, if that's not bad enough, again, here comes strike 3. We went after the agents. We defended the criminals. You know what was left, folks? Let's go after Todd Lyons himself. Let's go after this public servant. And better to do it than the woman who literally attacked a federal agent, the Congresswoman from New Jersey herself, LaMonica McIver. Go.
Let me ask you some questions that you may be able to answer. Mr. Lyons, do you consider yourself a religious man?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not. How many government...
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will suspend.
Chairman?
A gentlelady will suspend. As I said, the issues we're debating here are important to ones that members feel deeply about.
Thank you,
While
Chairman.
vigorous disagreement is part of the legislative process, members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum in debate. The witnesses are here voluntarily, and I will continue to remind members that while oversight is important, aggressively attacking those witnesses personally is inappropriate and not in keeping with the traditions of our committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just asking a question. You guys are always talking about religion here in the Bible. I mean, it's okay for me to ask a question, right?
What an embarrassment. An absolute embarrassment. I cannot believe that these guys literally fell over each other to be more embarrassing than the next. Attack the agent, defend the criminals, attack Todd Lyons. Unbelievable. All right, I will take any of your questions, no matter what it is. I thought that was so instructive, but I got a lot more to get with you guys. If you've got anything on your mind tonight, this is Sean Spicer sitting in for Roger Stone in the Stone Zone. Give me a call, 1-800-848-9222, or download the app. I'll take it no matter how you want to ask it. I got it. We'll be back after this break.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
It is a great, great person, Roger Stone.
The Stone Zone.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now, is right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks, and if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Payne Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is the Stone Zone. Now, get in the zone. It's the Stone Zone.
A man who's gone through hell, but he's kept going, and he's smart, and he's strong, and people love him. Not everybody, but people love him and respect him. Roger Stone. Where's Roger Stone?
Here's Roger Stone.
All right, don't change your station, your diet, your app. It's Sean Spicer sitting in for Roger Stone, sitting and commanding the Stone Zone tonight for Roger. Give me a call. I'm going to be taking your questions tonight. That's the difference. I just needed to get back into the mix. I said, Roger, give me a couple bats. Let me up to the plate. I got to take a couple swings. I'm missing the questions. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not missing them, but I'm excited to take your questions. Honored to be sitting in for Roger. Give me a shout out. Give me a call at 1-800-848-9222. All right, Andrew from New Jersey, what's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going? What is my mind is I'll answer the two. That question said, how is deporting a nanny make us safer? And also about Judgment Day. First, deporting a nanny, it makes us safer because when nannies such as my wife came here as actually an au pair first, and then she became a nanny after being an au pair, it makes us safer because they literally, our government had pictures of my parents, her parents from Thailand, had their photos, their address, their occupations. So there was a background check, not only on my wife, but on her family, and also her family members are police officers and military, and Thailand's military is also allied with the United States, just as a side note. And also it makes us safer when they come here legally, health-wise, because she had a health checks both in Thailand and here was tested for tuberculosis, HIV, and also if it was this.
Andrew, can I just ask you this? Andrew, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're making a ton of sense, right? I just question whether that was even a real question. I think they were trying to, it wasn't, you're answering this perfectly. But I don't actually think it was a real question. That's the thing. They wanted to make it seem like, oh, what about the nannies? And the answer to my question is everything that you said, but just at its fundamental, look, we don't know. I mean, that's what you're really getting at, right? Your wife and her, like, do everything because she had the proper channels and legal. We don't know who. And they're trying to figure out the soft point. Oh, the nannies. What about the people who picked this? As opposed to, yes, they're in the country illegally. We don't know anything because we don't have any background checks on them. They didn't come through the right channels. I mean, it's a red herring, right, Andrew? Isn't that really true?
It's also more exploitive because when people are here illegally, they could be not only paid less like they are, but they could be taken advantage of, and they fear going to the authorities.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think you're absolutely right, Andrew. That's the bottom line. But I think it was a red herring. It was a stupid question that the Democrats were asking on that panel to try to get a sympathetic response from the American people. We all know the real answer in this. Anyway, Andrew, thanks for the question. If you've got a question, let me call 1-800-848-9222. This is Sean Spicer sitting in the Stone Zone for Roger Stone tonight. We'll be right back.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
Roger Stone, who's a one of the smartest political minds. Roger Stone was persecuted. People forget he's actually a brilliant political analyst.
Now, get him his own. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
Hey, yes, you are in the Stone Zone, but this is not Roger Stone. It's Sean Spicer filling in for Roger Stone tonight. I'm taking all your questions. That's right. No matter what you have on your mind, I don't care if you work for CNN, the New York Times, or you work for both. You moonlight for New York Times and you're at CNN. I'll take your question. I don't care because I get the honor of sitting in the Stone Zone tonight. So let's kick it off. Joe, New Jersey, tell me what you got going on.
Hi, Sean. Just a quick question. This isn't my question, but I'm interested in this, and I thought it shouldn't have happened. But are you back in with the Naval Academy again?
Yeah, great question. So just so everyone knows, Joe, the first term, I think Joe's asking, I assume President Trump, after I left the White House, appointed me to the Board of Visitors, the U.S. Naval Academy. I'll give you the Cliff Note version because this is so cool. So I get a text or an email one day towards the end of my term from the head of personnel in the Biden administration. She says, "Thank you for your service. you can either resign from the board of the Naval Academy by 5 p.m. today, or President Biden will fire you. And I wrote back, I'm not resigning. So they fired me. And I got together with America First Legal, the group that Stephen Miller was running, and they said, hey, would you like to be the plaintiff in a case against the Biden administration? So as myself and Russ Vogt, Spicer v. Biden became the case. And I don't know if you know, I mean, Joe, I apologize if you know this, but I want to make sure everyone else does. But basically, we go into the court case, and here was the thing that no one got at the time. First of all, my term expired in like 30 days from when they dismissed me, which is the dumbest thing ever. And they got rid of all of the Trump appointees, Naval Academy, West Point, Air Force Academy. And they said, we have the right to do this. We went to court. The idea was to make the Biden administration argue in the affirmative that they had the right to fire anybody. The idea that America First Legal was thinking is, let's establish this precedent now. So anyway, we go to court, we quote-unquote lose, what the Biden administration argues as we suggested. President Trump gets elected, and I say to him, Mr. President, you have a precedent that was set by America First Legal. I was the plaintiff in this. And I get a call from the folks at the Washington Post, and they said, what do you think about the Kennedy Center? I said, what do you mean, what do I think about the Kennedy Center? Why do I care about the Kennedy Center? And this reporter said to me, oh, you haven't heard. I said, heard what? Well, President Trump fired everyone at the Kennedy Center. And when they were asked if they were going to do anything about it, they said, we can't serve Biden. And I went, oh my gosh. And I literally I'm sitting here in my studio tonight. I have a Washington Post front page section that you Google. And the title is, why can President Trump fire everyone from the Kennedy Center? Ask Sean Spicer. It was the most brilliant thing. I actually, not just to toot my horn just a second, I have a brand new book coming out. I talked to Roger about this actually the other day called Trump 2.0, where I talk very extensively about Spicer v. Biden. If you want to go to Amazon right now, you can go order Trump 2.0. But I have a whole chapter in there about how important this is because the Biden folks thought that they were smarter than everyone else. Oh, we're going to fire him first in the history of the United States that had ever happened. First time ever, Joe. And lo and behold, now all these guys are getting pissed about what President Trump's doing. And every time one of these little weasels whines and says, oh, President Trump's firing everyone, I go, you're right. Guess why? Spicer v. Biden. Anyway, Joe, thanks for bringing that up. Is that did you have a question? I appreciate you asking. But yes, President Trump appointed me after he got back in office back to the board of the U.S. Naval Academy.
Yeah, I'm a military retired lieutenant colonel from the Army Reserve, retired police officer, and also retired immigration service officer. 3 occupations I'm retired from. So I'm kind of a student of history, but my question is for you. The recklessness of the opposition, the Democrats, the liberals, the communists, whatever you want to call them, is so deep. Are we ever going to fix this through a nonviolent solution? Are we heading for, whatever you want to call it, a civil war or a violent reconstruction? Are we heading for that if we don't fix this under Trump?
So I answer your question in a different way because I think there's a lot of people who presume that it's got to end in a certain way. And I'm going to give you so here's why I don't think it goes in that direction. The answer to your question is yes, it will get fixed, but I think through different means. Here's what I mean by this. We have forgotten on the right. One, we need to grow up and get a spine, some of us. Not like, but some of these guys in Congress, there's an excuse, well, you can't do this. I had a pollster on my show. I have the Sean Spicer show every night on YouTube. Last Friday, I had exclusive polling on the show where I showed that when you actually ask voters what they think of ICE, it's a resounding, like they support ICE, they support deportation. The media will never tell you that story. The members of Congress are all we need to cut a deal. We need to do this. The media doesn't want us to do this, but when we stand up firm for common sense, getting rid of pronouns, ending the DEI woke agenda, what's right in terms of immigration, standing up for law enforcement, et cetera, the American people are with us. And I'll give you the most recent example. Sunday night, many of us were watching the Super Bowl. I'm a Patriots fan. I was watching it, disappointed, but watching it. Halftime comes on. I leave the room. I go put on TBN. I watch the Turning Point USA halftime show. Yesterday on my show, I have Andrew Colvett, who's the spokesman for Turning Point USA. He says, so how did it go? Like, he said, Sean, when the numbers are done, we expect to have 30 to 40 million people have watched that. Either streamed it, we're going to get a forensics team to come in and do an independent analysis so that everyone believes it. And the reason that I answer your question this way, Joe, is because of this. We're there. It's just that I think too many people don't realize how big the movement is because the media, Hollywood, academia, corporate America wants us to feel small and marginalized. We are on the right side of these issues if we're willing to stand up and fight for them and let people know that they're not alone. Because so many times when I bump into people and they say, oh my God, I'm so with you. I know, like, thank you for everything you do with President Trump. I go, I can't say anything at work because I'll get in trouble. I can't do that. I said, what do you mean you can't? You can, but you won't. And I understand sometimes it's tough. I'm not trying to, but we're right. Think about what it took Sunday night. I know in its simplicity it's a number, but you're sitting there watching the game and you have to turn the channel or flip on YouTube to watch this thing. And almost a quarter to a third of the people watching Super Bowl said, I don't want to watch this guy Bad Bunny. I'll watch good entertainment instead. That tells me that there's a big, broad movement that's with us if we're willing to stand up and be proud and loud and confront it and fight for it. And President Trump needs us going into a midterm. So I think we're there. I just don't think that – I think the forces that control the major institutions don't want to. You notice there was no coverage of that today, by the way. Think about this. When else can you get 30 to 40 million people to do anything and it's complete silence in the media? They refuse to acknowledge it because they know that we're right and they know the movement is big. So I think there, Joe. Anyway, thanks for your question. Todd from New Jersey, what's going on? All right, Mary, Connecticut. How are you?
Oh, yeah, hi. Just a real quick question for you about Ken Paxton. He's going to win the primary in Texas against John Cornyn. And I guess somebody else, I don't know their name. But Jasmine Crockett is also running for the Senate. I don't think for 1 minute the Republicans should discount the fact that she could win because Ken Paxton is an extremely flawed candidate. And I'm not really sure how much the base is going to be turning out for him, or for that matter, I don't feel that the base is inspired to turn out for this election, and because the Republicans don't get up and fight. They need to get up and fight, grow a spine, either that or buy one from Amazon. But they need to. But they need.
Mary,
to
let me ask you this: why? Where do you? I said you said you were from Connecticut. Are you in touch with folks from Texas? Are you from there? Like, are you just following it closely?
Just my own personal insight. That's all.
Right. No, it's great. I wanted to get a sense of, because I've been following this race and I just want people to understand what's happening. Okay, so let's do the Democrat side first. Two people running. James Tallarico, he is a state rep in Texas, very telegenic. He's very like Beto O'Rourke, like, like sort of real telegenic, but sort of a real phony. And you got Jasmine Crockett. Now, here's my take on this. I think Jasmine Crockett wins the Democratic primary March 3rd, and she becomes their nominee. But there's two things that I will tell you that I think are a problem here. She has raised about $200,000. Now, I live in Alexandria, Virginia. You can't win a council seat in Alexandria for $100,000. So she may, and money will flood in. Don't get me wrong on this, but like, she doesn't have a current campaign manager right now. She's doing stops like she's running for dog catcher. There's a huge story out in the last 24 hours about how she's running this non-traditional campaign. You cannot do that in Texas. It's just impossible. And so I get not necessarily running a traditional campaign, but she's literally not running TV. She has no campaign manager. And you're running for the United States Senate in Texas, which is a big, big state with multiple media markets. So I will tell you this. I don't discount her because the Democrats will flood the zone. But she is a flawed candidate. Now, let me flip the page. There are three candidates, as you mentioned, running for the Republican nomination in Texas. The current incumbent, John Cornyn, who is a member of leadership. He was Texas's attorney general prior to this, meaning he's been in office for like 3 decades. Well known, very establishment. Okay. And everyone in the D.C. establishment is behind Cornyn. Thune, all the D.C. money, all that. Guys, I think close to $10 million in the bank. The 2 people he's facing are Wesley Hunt, a Houston area congressman, West Point graduate. I like Wesley a lot, but I don't know what he's thinking. He cannot win this primary. He cannot win. He's just not as well known. And he jumped in at he literally filed his papers on the very last day, which is not a sign of seriousness as far as I'm concerned. So I really like Wesley. I think he's a great candidate, great story. He is, like I said, West Point grad, Army guy. That's the only thing I hold against him as a Navy guy. But he's going to win. He's polling between 15 and 20%. And then you got Ken Paxton. Ken is the current attorney general. Had a lot, to your point, a lot of baggage with Ken. He's raised about $1.7 million. But yesterday, Turning Point endorsed it. That is going to help him tremendously. And the last 2 polls that have come out in the last 48, 72 hours show Paxton up between 6 and 8%. Okay. But here's the but. March 3rd, the way it works in Texas is that if neither of the candidates so the Democrats, it's 2 people. One of them will get 50% because just mathematically it works. On the Republican side, if one of them doesn't get 50%, it goes to a runoff, the top 2. Now, here's the way I look at this right now. Current status, no one gets to 50 because Thune, Cornyn's at like mid to high 30s. Paxton, depending on which poll you're looking at, is anywhere from the mid 30s to the low 40s. As I said, the last 2, he's up on Cornyn, and Wesley Hunt between 15 and 20%, depending on the poll. So as it stands today, March 3rd comes, I think you're going into a runoff with Cornyn and Paxton. Now here's my scenario that I change the game. As I said, every DC establishment person is all in for Thune, and his pollster for Cornyn. And his pollster is a guy named Tony Fabrizio, who happens to be President Trump's pollster. So there's definitely some back channels there saying, hey, Mr. President, can you support Cornyn? The Paxton people are very clear. Hey, look, we got the momentum. We got the grassroots with us. We got Turning Point USA. Everybody is lobbying President Trump for his endorsement right now, primarily the Cornyn people and the Paxton people. I think it was a jump ball the other day. I think the Turning Point USA thing, I got to be honest, Mary, I think that if I had to put money on if President Trump endorses it, and it's still a big if, I would put money on Ken Paxton right now. And that shifted when Turning Point USA put their money on him. So if that happens and Wesley Hunt says, okay, with Trump endorsing, I can't win, there's no way, I'm going to drop out and endorse Paxton. I think that is the only scenario where you have a candidate that gets 50% and walks away with this. Now, then we enter the general election, kind of what you put up. But until we know where we are on March 3rd, it's an incomplete picture. So that's my take on the Texas. Like I said, I don't live in Texas. I don't vote in Texas. I live in Virginia. We actually had an election here today in Virginia. But I'm just telling you, I think this is the one that's been the hit against Paxton is that he can't win a general. That's what the Cornyn people keep saying. But I'm telling you, if Jasmine Crockett is the Dem, a doorknob could beat her. Now, if Tallarico pulls this thing out, which I don't think he will, the Dems are going to claim that they could beat Paxton. And who knows? We'll see what the polling looks like. But I tell you that, Jasmine Crockett, I just don't think is going to get people fired up. She will not run a professional campaign. I don't think she can pull it off. That's my take on things. I appreciate the question. I thank you for bringing it up because I think that it's going to be really interesting how this thing plays out head into the final days. Anyway, this is Sean Spicer sitting in the Stone Zone, right in the dead center of it for Roger Stone tonight. I'll take your questions, and when we come back, though, I got to play you an unbelievable clip from a Democrat in North Carolina that makes you wonder about the education system. This is Sean Spicer sitting in for Roger Stone. Give me a holler, 1-800-848-9222. We'll be right back.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
Roger Stone, who's a very, one of the smartest political minds. Roger Stone was persecuted. People forget he's actually a brilliant political analyst.
Now, get him his own. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
Well, it is not Roger Stone. This is the Stone Zone. Don't worry. You are in the right place. It's Sean Spicer sitting in for Roger Stone. I'm excited and honored to be sitting in. You wouldn't believe how we've got the Stone Zone decorated tonight. It is unbelievable. Roger is going to have a fit when he sees what I've done with the Stone Zone tonight. But I will have it all put back together by the time he's back. Anyway, it's been great to be here tonight. There was this unbelievable exchange down in Mecklenburg, North Carolina today that blew my mind. I want to play it for you because it makes me question public education. Go.
Branch of government do you operate under?
Mecklenburg County.
What branch of government do you operate under, Sheriff?
Constitution of the United States.
Correct. That is what establishes the branches of government. I'm asking which branch you fall under.
Mecklenburg County. I'm a duly sworn Mecklenburg County Sheriff. We answer to the people of Mecklenburg County.
This was not where I was anticipating getting stuck. Are you aware of how many branches of government there are?
No.
Okay. For the sake of debate, I will move on and say there are 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial. Of those 3, which do you believe you fall under?
I believe I fall under the last one.
Would you say it to me?
Judicial.
Okay. You are incorrect, sir.
You are incorrect, sir. That's the sheriff. I mean, not to understand, like, you're not a judge. I don't even know. Like, that hurt my brain. It literally hurt my brain. But if an elected official doesn't understand the branch of government that they fall in, and there's only 3. There's literally 3. The executive, that's the mayor, the governor, the president. The legislature, maybe that's the city council, the county council, the state, like those are the, right? That's your legislative branch, the Congress. And then judges. Well, you know you're not a judge, right? I mean, that should be the no-brainer. Okay, definitely, it's like the SAT. That's definitely not one of the answers. I just got 2. Like, and I'm not part of a body, right? That's the legislative body. So that's got to make me number 1, the executive. Holy smokes. I mean, this is, you laugh, but this is where we are. Anyway, my mind is blown. But it's a reminder when you hear these Democrats go off about ICE, as I said at the beginning of the show, and then you go, oh, this explains a lot. Anyway, thank you guys for having me tonight. I appreciate the honor of sitting in the Stone Zone for Roger Stone. This is Sean Spicer. You can catch me every day on my YouTube channel, Sean Spicer Show. Go to YouTube right now. Sign up for my show. Watch it. My newsletter's at SeanSpicer.com. And please go on Amazon and order Trump 2.0. I really appreciate it. It's a great look at why Trump's second term is so consequential. Thanks to Roger for letting me sit in. Have a great night.